Now, last week I asked the panel to come up with their biggest complaints of the week, and funnily enough, they didn't struggle with that task at all. So I figured we'd do it again. It's time for What's Got Your Goat? All the biggest gripes of the week, right here on the Sunday Showdown. I'll start with you tonight, Kel. What's got your goat?
This week, figures came out from the ABS, from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, in which they showed that there are relatively fewer standalone homes being built and far more high-riser apartment blocks being built. Now, this is a continuation of a trend that's been on for a long time, which I call the death of the great Aussie backyard. I think it's tragic. It started off with councils allowing developers to build blocks with a backyard of 2 metres, in which you can't play backyard cricket or backyard football. Now, even that's gone, and kids are being raised in these things 25 feet above, 25 stories above the ground. I think it's appalling. For little kids to be healthy, they need to be able to run out the back door into their backyard, not be taken down 25 floors into a park 3 blocks away, but they can run in and out from the backyard. That's really vital.
I think it's sad. You know, I know if we want to keep living in the cities, we've basically got no alternative but to grow up, unfortunately. But, Jamie, I do feel sad for these kids. I mean, you know, as a kid on the quarter-acre block, backyard cricket and football and lobbing golf balls into the neighbour's backyard and all this sort of business and breaking windows on the shed. I mean, that was great fun. And these poor kids hold up in apartment blocks, and I mean, God knows what goes on.
I know, and I think I was the same as you when you grew up with a big backyard, and I've got 2 sons, so they need to be able to run wild and go and kick that footy, and, you know, they obviously do have parks around us and we have a tiny backyard. But I think also, Kel, we've spoken about this previously on the program, where we're also losing that sense of community because you aren't talking to your neighbours over the fence anymore or behind your fence, and you don't know anyone in the building.
They talk about these tall buildings as being vertical villages. That's a lie. Your security pass gets you in the front door and to your floor. They're not a village, you're right. That's exactly the point, Jamie. They're not a community.
And this is the thing, Lucy. I think, you know, we live closer together than ever, just as we're more connected than ever, allegedly, with the internet.
Which we're not.
But we're actually further apart because we live in these little silos and we don't talk to each other.
We couldn't be further apart. And I lived as a single bachelorette, as a woman in the eastern suburbs, pre-marriage and children, in an apartment. And I barely saw my neighbours. We barely interacted. We barely spoke. Now, where we are, I deliberately moved out to the northwest of Sydney because A, it was cheaper, but B, we were able to end up in a home where we did have a vast backyard and the kids can run around and enjoy all the spoils and the pleasures that we did growing up. You know, the sporting moments, the barbecues, and the neighbours popping their heads over the fence. Hey, guys, how's it going? I tell you now, my neighbours have become like family, genuinely beautiful people who will look after my kids if I have to quickly run out and do something. We help each other when we need. One of them just enlisted in the RAAF the other week, and I watched his enlistment ceremony. I cried when I went over to say goodbye to him. These people and these interactions are really something that I've come to treasure. So I think it's a real shame for our young kids growing up now that they won't have that.
Well, now